Hello and welcome to episode 12 of Irish Ears, a Disney Fancast. We've got a packed episode full of D23 news and basically the last 4 months to recap on. Very sorry for missing the last few months. There was announcements in April of Disneyland Paris and I was like, do you know what, we'll just wait for the end of those announcements. And then May happened, and then June happened, and then July happened. And here we are in August after D23. We made our triumphant return, and I have the lovely Megan O'Kane from Megan Loves Magic on the line. Megan, how are you?
I am doing so well. It's so nice to be back recording a new episode. I know that people have been asking for it. I got a lot of questions on Instagram stories and things over the weeks being like, when's the next episode? And like, it's today. But I think we picked a good time to bounce back with D23 and all of the announcements that came out of that. I mean, I think that was possibly the best D23 we've had in years. Definitely the best D23 Disneyland Paris has had ever, probably. But in terms of announcements across the board, it was really, really, really good.
What's crazy is that I just loved, like, we didn't get a live stream, like a proper live stream. And I didn't stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning to watch it, hand on heart, because I have to sleep. But like, I just loved the energy. I loved, like, it was a great show. Do you know, it really sold me to like try and go to one a few years or whatever. Like, the whole weekend seemed like an unbelievable thing. Like, I just thought it was going to be just a few panels and kind of like, you know, here and there, real fussy. But like, from the vlogs that I've seen and stuff, it seemed like literally the ultimate Disney fan event.
Yeah, I think it would be great next time if they could sell like a online panel ticket or something where we could pay, because you know, people like us, we will pay to watch the streams of these panels if we can't make it over there. Like, I'm going to publicly apologise to everyone for the last weekend that I was melting everybody about that Grey's Anatomy panel. I was on every form of social media asking who was at that panel to try and get coverage. But that's the thing, if they don't stream it, and you know, they're very tight on people videoing it and things, so it would be great if they could sort of stop the illegal recordings by just making a legal recording themselves and making us pay for it. Simple.
If only Disney owns some like news channels that they could do this. Like, they own like ABC, don't they? So
yeah, they do. They own it. They own literally everything at this point. They could do it, like, and they love making money. Like, they love making money out of it. So it's a no-brainer.
Imagine if it was something in like you know, Disney Plus or whatever, and you could pick how many panels you wanted to see, or you could buy the main like, you know, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night shows for like a tenner each or whatever. Like, they're always trying to make money.
Like a weekend add-on pack or something that you could buy, like a booster pack or something. I don't know. People would pay for that. People would. I have no doubt they would.
Big time. I would pay. A lot of people would pay. So we had 3 nights of major events. We had Friday night, which was the kind of movies and streaming and entertainment announcements. And then Saturday night for pretty much everyone was the big one, which was the parks and experiences. And I think, is Cruise Line on that too? I think it is.
Yeah.
And then we had Sunday night, which was the Legends. And I think that they did that because on Sunday it was kind of, even though like big up to the Legends and all, but if people wanted to get home to work on Monday, they could kind of maybe not go on Sunday.
Yeah. It was lovely though. I really enjoyed watching the Legends ceremony. It was one of those, like, every year it's great to see who they pick for it, and everyone was very deserving, I think, that got kind of
Big
inducted
time
into the Legends this time. It was so good to see Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana up there. I was like, yes, girl.
Crazy young to be a Disney legend.
And yeah, her speech was brilliant too. Like, she was really, really good. So that was nice.
So the parks panel started off, I think, with Josh D'Amaro coming out and saying specifically that this was not blue sky projects being kind of, I think 2 years ago, was it 2 years ago at D23 that he came out and famously said it was blue sky stuff, that they were...
I think it was 4 years ago they announced a pile of projects that actually ended up all getting cancelled, or most of them ended up getting cancelled, and then I think to save skin, he came back the next year and was like, this is blue sky thinking, this is what could be. And it really annoyed everybody, especially, I guess, people who have come all that way to hear all these massive announcements, only to be told that they're kind of like, may not even be real.
Yeah,
Yep, it was so good that he actually said those words out loud, that it's not blue sky, that these are actual real projects that are going to work, because I think people were skeptical on Twitter for sure. People were like, oh, Parks panel, are they going to announce real projects, or is it going to be, you know, Josh's lunch break ideas and stuff like that? But
like I think yeah, they announced blue sky stuff thinking that's what the fans wanted, but in reality I think fans want somewhere in between, like, you know, boring stuff that's guaranteed and blue sky stuff. So like, give us kind of blue sky stuff that's actually going to get built, pretty much.
Yes, that's what we want.
So we'll start off.
If you're listening, Josh.
Yeah. Well, Natasha listens in, I know. So Josh is going to definitely be. Natasha was over there for the weekend.
It's in their WhatsApp group chat. Every episode goes in their group chat. I know it does.
Literally, yeah. Their WhatsApp, yeah, encrypted. Nobody can get in there. Start off with your favorite resort. I think we'll have to start off Disneyland Resort.
Yes.
So it's obviously going to celebrate its 70th anniversary next year. What do you know? What month of the year? It's summer, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is summer. Because they lost their 65th to COVID, so I feel like 70 is going to be massive. They had a huge 65th planned, and it all had to be scrapped, and all there was merch because the parks were closed. So I think they're going to go really, really heavy for 70, so I'm going to try and get over myself at some stage next year to get in on the festivities of it, because they go hard over there on their birthdays. So I don't think they actually shared too much about exactly what it's going to entail just yet, but if we know Disneyland, it's going to be big, and I think they're going to do everything they can to make it up to everyone who missed out for 65.
Yeah, July 17th is the anniversary. So if you want to book your flights there while you're on the phone to me here, that's grand.
Yep. The cogs are turning.
They will go big for sure, because like just everything, like I know it's not LA, Anaheim, but they're just so close to LA that they can just bring down celebrities. You know, they can pump huge money in, because if they pump huge money in and then get a celebrity down, then it makes like all the media all over the world. So they're gonna go. It's like, if you think that, I don't know, was Disneyland Paris' 30th kind of bigged up a little bit because they couldn't spend the money in, or they couldn't really go hard on 65 in Anaheim, and then the damn squib of 50 in Florida. But yeah, I'm expecting big things. It really is not like how not to do a anniversary.
How not to do a huge celebration, but we'll not slag off Florida too much. They're coming up later.
We'll
save it for then.
Everyone's going to get their fair share of slagging and praise here, because
absolutely,
we're an equal opportunities Disney podcast, unlike
absolutely everyone gets the slagging they deserve.
But yeah, so 7th anniversary, and like, speaking of anniversaries, like this is a big deal for me. DLP Report were there. I think they got like pretty much front row to each day somehow, in classic DLP Report fashion. But they recorded this little segment, this little like musical transition in between the parks. And when they were moving on from American parks to Paris and then Shanghai, whatever, they played a Monkey See La Mine. Like the live band in the Honda Center played a Monkey See La Mine. And this just hit me that, like, exactly, because I know it's crossing the train tracks here, but like, I don't know what you know about like DC comics, you know, like Batman and Superman and stuff, but there's a famous line from, it was an awful movie, God love it. It was Batman versus Superman? I think it was, yeah. Where they, spoiler alert, but they resurrect Superman, okay? And he has a famous line that he's holding Batman by the throat, and he goes, "You won't let me live, you won't let me die." And I was like, that's exactly what's happening here with a Monkey See La Mine. Because like,
that's it.
Yeah, like they want us to move on. They like, it was at pains that, you know, get over the anniversary, people. Please get over it, because it's gone. You know, we're moving on. Here's splashes of colour. Here's future starting right now. Like, you know, like forget about Ready for the Ride. Just Dream Shine Brighter never happened, and they're going to play Monkey See Lamine.
That is still like that is one of the greatest Disney parks songs of recent times. I can't think of one that I like better than that, and like that's a huge compliment because I really liked Brand New Day. So like
I have
really
like
did.
PTSD for Brand New Day because I think that was released on Spotify during COVID, and
yeah.
it got played 24/7 in my house during COVID, and I was just, now it's PTSD completely. But yeah, like it was the first time I think that they had a proper park anthem for Paris that was not half French, but like a good bit of French and a good bit of English. I think most of them in the past, like Catching the Happy Rhythm and all those, and they were all fully English, were they?
The 20th or the 25th had a whole verse in French. But
did it?
I don't know what happened. That one, it just never seemed to. It was a good, catchy wee bop, but I don't think it took off in the same way that Dancing to Catchy Rhythm and like Ready for the Ride and all took off. They didn't reach those levels of chart stardom in the Disney community that those ones did. But it was like, a good wee one if you just want to look it up on YouTube.
I'd be completely on for like a Monkey See Lamine coming back every 5 years as this kind of like anthem, like immemorial. Do you know, like like as in like we all know it's coming, so we're all getting G'd up for hearing it walking into the parks and stuff. Like, you know, every 5 years that would bring back so many people just to hear it in the parks. Don't bring back like Ready for the Ride and Dream Shine Brighter and stuff, but like just bring back the kind of score, you know, of Monkey See Lamine into the parks.
Yeah, because there's so many versions. They had like the slow version, they had like the dance version,
absolute bangers,
the regular version. They could do so much with it, and there's no need to let it go just yet. And let it go. See what I did there.
Love it.
But interesting choice for D23 anyway. Love that little tidbit. I didn't know about
notice
that.
How they didn't go with what's it called? Nos Hiswar Chat GPT. Is that what you call that new one? Zing.
I think that's just written off now. I haven't seen that on TikTok at all.
That was very strange because they released it, and the blurb that was released with that was, here's music for your social media, basically. So it was basically like, you know, not licensed, i.e. did a human write this if it's not licensed? You know, I don't think you can license AI created stuff. Like, I don't know how that works really.
Use this on your TikToks.
That was pretty much it. And I saw a lot of people saying, oh, we're going on a complete tangent, by the way, but that was to get people away from what was that other TikTok that everyone was using that wasn't applicable for Paris, really? It was TikTok music. It's absolutely gone from my head now. But about walking down Main Street and stuff.
It's the one, let's go to Disney.
Yes.
That one? That because that actually doesn't have half the stuff from Paris in it.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's a letdown already. Back to Disneyland Resort, where there is everything. Anyway. So we have 7th anniversary, and for 7th anniversary we're getting a Walt Disney animatronic, which was always coming. It clearly got the blessing from Disney family. So, I mean, we can all kind of get over our sentimental kind of, don't stamp on his grave or whatever. Like, clearly the Disney family are happy with the technology that they have these days to bring him back in a manner that is respectful. It's going to be slightly creepy, not going to lie. If it resembles the kind of Liberty Arcade, you know, that kind of dark room of presidents that we have in Paris, that people are creeped out to go into.
I think it'll be a lot better quality than that.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yeah.
That'll be nice for like the people who are really like nerdy into Walt's story and Disneyland history. I think that's going to be a really, really nice addition, especially when a lot of that stuff is kind of behind a paywall at Disneyland Resort. You have to pay extra to go on the tours of like Walt's apartment and walk in Walt's footsteps tours. This is something that all guests have included in their ticket, and they can go and find out about the history of Disneyland and see the Walt animatronic. I think it's going to be really, really good for like quenching the nerd thirst for people. I'm looking forward to seeing it whenever I eventually get going back.
It is a big draw for like Disneyland Resort that it's Walt's Park and stuff. Like particularly for international park fans, that it's kind of like going to Mecca or whatever. Like it's kinda like everyone has to go once. Like to be a proper Disney. That's not snobby, by the way. Just like people feel like they need to go. But there is talk
of you need to go again.
Oh, stop. There is talk of like them bringing a version, like once they obviously roll it out in Anaheim, that there will be similar across the parks. Like they might give it Anaheim for like 5 years, and then it's going to be like everywhere for like you could have maybe a Walt meet and greet in Walt's restaurant in Paris, like
I don't like that. No.
Robot meet and greet. That'd be funny.
Oh no.
But yeah, like if they're bringing the animatronic technology from like Tokyo, then they're gonna be okay with that. Like I think so.
I think if for the Disney family to approve it, it would need to be like top state of the art, like no messing about. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
I don't think they would like want something half baked for such a legend, and it would be critiqued to bleep by Parks fans if it was bad.
Yeah, it would be destroyed, and
it would be absolutely ruined. Like the memes. I'm just picturing the memes already.
It's kind of a thing where they might want to bring in like focus groups or like previews so that they could get opinions from a lot of critical people, so that nobody can criticize it. Like,
yeah, it'll be like, does this look like Walt's defrosted head? There's that whole rumor about him being like cryogenically frozen.
Was that in The Simpsons?
When those rumors would start again, huh?
I think that might have been in The Simpsons too.
The Simpsons started that, did they?
We've come full circle because now Disney own The Simpsons. And then somebody asked me on Facebook, was the third land in studios going to be a Simpsons land? And I was just like, oh god, no. Like Simpsons is Universal in Florida, isn't it? Well, like they don't want,
and LA have it as well.
Yeah, they don't kind of have it anymore. Like they can't do more with it. It's kind of frozen in time now. The same as kind of all the Marvel stuff in Florida. That's a crazy rule. We'll get into that another day about the Mississippi that Disney can't do Marvel in Florida. So what else we have going on in Disneyland Resort? We have Tiana's Bayou's Adventure opening November 15th. I mean, you know better than me. Doesn't get cold in LA, in California during winter? It doesn't get that cold, does it?
Not that cold. Like, well, to be fair, I did Splash Mountain in October in the evening for the first and last time. I feel like I will do this ride once for my girl Tiana, but I know already it's a one and done for me because I hate water rides and I hate how wet you get on Splash Mountain. I had no idea before I did it for the first time that you actually get drenched from head to toe. So I think definitely I'll probably talk more about this when we get to the Lion King.
Yes.
At DLP.
Hold that thought.
But I'm going to hold that thought. But I am excited to see what that ride's like. And I hope that someone does a really good YouTube ride along that will quench my thirst and be like, so that's fine. I don't have to go on it then because I've watched it from someone else's perspective. Because, Disney it's exciting. And that's a lovely area of Disneyland, like New Orleans Square, and Tiana's restaurant's now open as well. So it's a real lovely themed land. Very, I was going to say cohesive, but the Haunted Mansion is right in the middle. Which kind of kills the vibe a little bit.
We'll get back to cohesive messes in a few minutes.
Yeah.
We will. But like when they opened the Boy Adventure in Florida, they showed how not to do it again because they released a ride on like officially from Disney, and it was the worst point of view like video you've ever seen in your life. It was basically someone standing there with a Osmo Pocket just facing forward. And not like,
Jesus.
Do you know the way, like, if you're on the ride and you're a fan or whatever, you'd be like looking for little clues and little Easter eggs. And it was only when the actual content creators from the locality got on the ride that people started liking it a bit more.
Yeah.
And then just to round off Disneyland Resort, we have Smuggler's Run in Galaxy's Edge. at Disney Resort and Walt Disney World, they're getting got a new Mandalorian kind of, not overlay, but like a new scene, and it's actually getting co-developed with Fortnite, which is kind of crazy. I'm too old for any thoughts
Same.
about Fortnite. There was a Instagram post about a week ago that some aspects of the parks panel was going to get streamed live into Fortnite, and my head just exploded with the terminology being used, and I couldn't work out basically
mine
what was
just
happening.
exploded all over again. I don't know.
So basically, if you were playing Fortnite, that you could watch the presentation within the game, like your little avatar could watch it in the game. Like, just
Or
give
you
us a
could-
stream, lads. I don't know.
Or you could just stop playing Fortnite for a couple of minutes and watch the stream. We don't need it inside Fortnite.
Yeah, like I know, like the only people I know playing Fortnite are like maybe 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds. Like, it's not. I don't think it's something that 25 up play anyway.
No, I don't think so.
And like
We might be wrong. We
Disneyland-
might get a whole pile of people in the DMs going, "How dare you insult Fortnite?"
Yeah, well, like, oh, I'm sure there is, but like Disneyland, I saw some stats recently that for the first time ever, the most revenue is coming from Disneyland is like millennials with money, basically, as opposed to
Yeah.
people bringing their kids and families and stuff like that. So that's going to be a trend definitely across the parks, probably across the world. Maybe not China for a few years, but like, yeah, it was a really interesting, depressing piece I read in some online establishment that, like, you know, basically people kind of, I would say our age. I know you're a little bit younger than me, but like, maybe a little bit younger than us. That sounds terrible, but like that, you know, can't afford a house, blah blah, and they're just spending their money on having a good time as opposed to trying to save for something that's never going to happen. So anyway, moving
That's
on,
still
because
me,
the
to be
podcast,
fair.
yeah, the podcast is not about world politics. Moving over to DCA, which I am a pains to say that I've never visited, because when I went to Disneyland Resort, we just kind of nipped down to Anaheim, and we only had one day to do it, so like we didn't go into. I think DCA was not open for long, so never went in to see the El Pier and the pal around, things like that. But it looks amazing.
It's incredible.
They're doubling. This is nearly a single-handed draw for me. You know me, Marvel. They're doubling their Avengers campus. They are bringing in the previously announced Infinity Defense ride, which is this. I suppose it's kind of like Cosmic Rewind a little bit, but it's much more bespoke and not just like another Cosmic Rewind. It's going to be, it has King Thanos in there. They're making up a whole story for this, basically, like a whole, you know, the way like MCU is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think they're going to have to come out and say they're going to make a Marvel Parks universe, because, you know, I've met Shuri and T'Challa in the same day in Paris. So like,
Yeah,
and Shuri
bit
was kind of
weird.
like, yeah, Shuri just said to me, multiverse, you know. So yeah, they're going to have to come up with some sort of parks thing. So like King Thanos is this big character from the comic books, and they can just go wild with stuff that like doesn't happen in the movies, which I'm all for. The second Marvel attraction is this Stark Flight Lab, and this looks incredible. So have you ever seen videos of like a car factory where they build cars? And
Yeah.
you see these one-arm robots, they're kind of yellow robots. and
They
they're
twist them and turn them
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
like put all
That's
the
what
parts
they're doing.
on.
That's what they're doing with you, basically. So they're going to
Yeah.
pick you up, like in I think it's a dual seater job, and yeah, they're going to make you feel like you're flying. They're going to spin you around, and yeah, looks incredible. Looks really
It's
something different.
it's gonna be fantastic. The Avengers campus over there is amazing. Like, you could easily, like, it's already huge. When they said it was doubling in size, my head exploded, because you could already spend near enough a whole day in there because of the rides they've already got, plus all the character meets, plus all the entertainment that's on all day through the night and everything. Like, it's already like almost a mini park in itself. So like the thought of that getting to be twice the size is because it's not just going to be 2 extra rides, because then there'd be, because if they're doubling the size, there's going to be room for more food options, more meet and greets, more space to put on more productions. Like, it's going to be mad. I'm so excited for it.
It's kind of everything that, you know, when you walk through Avengers Campus in Paris and you're kind of thinking, oh, look down that corner, look at that blank wall, look at that thing. Like, you know, it's kind of like they go ahead and do it. Whereas in Paris, I think they were working to what seemed like a very tight budget, even though they spent €1 million on the TV in Flight Force. I don't know, French budgeting just out the door. And yeah, so like the Doctor Strange little corner they had a Black Panther kind of in memoriam, you know, but after Chadwick Boseman died, they had there was just so much stuff, like
at
even
the shawarma stand. It was at
the food carts.
Stand. It
Exactly.
was deadly. Yeah.
In Paris, we get this crazy pot noodle dish coming out of like, and they finally put shawarma into the super diner, but then instead of having, like, they have hot dogs down there as well, and like, you know, Happy Hogan loved hamburgers and they should sell hamburgers instead. So I don't know, like, and just like, I really love what they did with, this is another tangent, I love what they did with Deadpool in Paris with the bar in the hotel in New York, and the fact that we got Deadpool 2 days before California, but then they brought Wolverine to California and they didn't bring him to Paris, and then he hasn't spoken a word of English in the parks in Paris, and that's just a bummer for me personally. Like, I mean, I can
Deadpool hasn't spoken a word of English?
No. That's a
know
thing.
that.
Yeah. Now, some people have told me that he has spoken English to them, but I believe the kind of, you know, tannoy jokes and stuff are all recorded in French, so there is no banter in English, which I can order, you know, a petit falou in French, but I can't get jokes really, which is a shame.
That is a shame. They should at least have it in 2 languages.
They should. Or, like, I don't know, maybe when it comes out, it obviously comes out at different times, so if he has like 5 or 6 different interactions, like if he comes out with Guardians, for example, maybe the Guardians could be all French and he could be English, or like vice versa. It's another way to do it in the shows.
Yeah. That
so yeah, Avengers Campus California looks incredible again, and you know, there's nothing planned really to add to Paris, so we'll just sit over here and be bitter about it.
Another D23 where my Guardians Tower of Terror re-theme didn't happen.
Well, you saw my predictions like the day before.
I know.
And
I know. I so wish they were right.
I thought we were getting even like a Doctor Strange multiverse tower would have been.
I take it.
You know, would have been incredible too. Yeah, it's gonna be strange. It's gonna be, sorry, pardon the pun. It's gonna be strange, like when Adventure World is complete. Well, I'll come back to this later, but like it's gonna be a very patchwork quilt job, and with a bit of,
as always.
I know a re-theme of Tower of Terror was not the thing you want to do when it's already struggling to bring people into the park. Like Tower of Terror is like a huge draw, obviously. So to have that down for like, I don't know how long it'll take Paris to re-theme that, probably 2 years.
Ambitious.
Yeah. So.
But like, it just doesn't. I'm on a tangent again, but like, especially now that they're taking studios. When they're taking studios out of the name of it, it makes no sense to have the Hollywood Tower Hotel anymore. No. Because that's the whole idea of that, was like, you know, the hotel for all of the actors and actresses and directors and everyone who's big in Hollywood. Like, and that's not even remotely part of what they're going for with this new Disney Adventure World thing. So that, to me, would be like the perfect time to pull it into Avengers Campus. But
or even just do the back of it, so it doesn't look, so it looks like it might belong at Avengers Campus. Like a bit of stainless steel on the back of it would be grand. Put a big Avengers logo or something, you know.
Just Rocket's face.
I'm sure Natasha's listening here. So we're staying in DCA, and like you know, America, like, my God, Disney and America, they're getting a Coco boat ride, which anything like when you watch Coco, it's one of those movies, and this is happening a lot in the last 10 years with Disney movies and Pixar movies. They kind of make the movies thinking about what rides will be possible in a few years.
Yeah.
We'll get back to this later with some of the Walt Disney World announcements, but Coco was built for the parks, really was.
Totally. And DCA put the respect on Coco's name that it deserves. They always have something Coco related going on all through the year. And like their Halloween, like when it gets to like Halloween season, they go nuts for it. Like they really do give it so much love all the time. And they have like, they've got Miguel out either in puppet form or in character form all the time. Like they really get Coco over there and they nurture it and make it a big part of the park. So I'm glad they're finally able to add a ride. It gives me hope that it's going to be a really good ride.
Ernesto as well. Well, they got Ernesto during
Ernesto, that's right.
Halloween.
Yeah, Ernesto's been at the Oogie Boogie Bash a few times. Yeah,
like you've seen Together, haven't you? The show, Pixar show in Paris.
I have.
So like,
yes, it's wonderful.
Like the love during the Coco part is incredible, and like it just harks back to Dream Shine Brighter and stuff like that. And it's kind of like they can do it in Spanish as well. Like it's such a huge thing. Like I know we give out about like lack of English from Deadpool, but the Spanish speaking, especially in America, the Spanish speaking population, like the customers, the guests, is whopper. And I can only imagine Paris too, like with being next door to Spain, like representation for Spanish speaking and Spanish history, Spanish heritage, you know, Mexican heritage, Colombian heritage. Like they go deep, lads. Go deep. I'm all here for it. Like if I can't understand you speaking French, go ahead and speak Spanish, Portuguese, whatever.
Like put the ride up, make it good, and give us a copy paste in Paris. Boom.
Done. Stitch Live, out of there, please. Done. Delete.
Delete.
Like
it never happened.
as well as that, it's funny enough with DCA and Disneyland, it wasn't said where these additions are going to be. So the whole Disneyland Forward, kind of they're just making car parks now part of the parks. So instead of like, you know, Disneyland Paris used to just make the parks look like car parks, but now Disneyland Resort is actually bringing the car parks into the parks, and this is getting very meta. And yeah, there's a huge thing. It's like billions going into that. So I assume all these additions are going to be part of that little rectangle that they're building new stuff in. There's a new hotel as well, is there?
Not yet. They've done a big retheme. Like they've Paradise, what was it called?
Pixar
Paradise
Hotel,
something hotel has been rethemed into Pixar. They've put so much money into that. It looks incredible. I'm dying to stay in it. But yeah, it's very strange. They haven't really said where things are gonna go, but I equally in my brain I can think of things that could be took away to, like, there's a Hollywood land kind of bit, and I think there's quite a lot of that's kind of a bit neglected and not really used. So I kind of thought maybe that might be where they might try and put at least maybe the Coco ride into. But then they're talking about a whole other land. We'll move on and talk about like Avatar Land that is.
Yeah, well, the Californians like really wanted this from Florida, basically. So, I mean, they don't have the expansive land that they have in Animal Kingdom, obviously. But
no,
I don't even know what rides they're gonna get. Like, you have the River Passage and you have Flight of Passage. Those two rides, isn't it?
Yeah.
Navi River Journey.
Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those two rides can be brought over, and like, I'm not a huge fan of the Avatar movies. I don't like much as like Marvel isn't really, but most of Marvel has been, you know, created under Disney. I know James Cameron is now a Disney legend, but I don't feel Disney-ish when I think of Avatar, to be honest with you.
No, me neither.
And
well,
like Star Wars is more so a little bit because it's just been there for so long. Like, I feel Marvel because they've done so well with the Avengers campuses, I feel like their heart is in bringing Marvel to Disney. I'm kind of meeting halfway, but like, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Avatar movies. And it was so funny because Avatar and Marvel had this big fight in the box offices for years. That like, do you remember when Endgame came out and they got the #1 box office of all time? And then Avatar, I don't think had been bought by Disney back then. They re-released Avatar in China just to like get an extra 100 million, so that they could go #1 again.
Wow.
So there was real tit for tat, like, and now they're in the same studio, so they don't really care. But yeah, feels a bit.
Avatar's
weird.
just like, it's so long. Like I haven't got through any of the films, but like equally, if they build a really fun immersive land and chuck some really good rides in there, I can get into it in a parks capacity for sure. Like if they're going to make it fun and immersive, like I was like that with Marvel. Sure, you know, I haven't seen half the films, but I can go into Avengers Campus and have the best old time and chat to any old character at all. But like,
talk to Carol,
talk to my new friend Black Widow.
Oh, stop.
And
yeah, just. But
I
the thing about
I can enjoy it in the parks
I always thought
capacity
with
without
Avatar,
enjoying the films.
Yeah, I always thought with Avatar, like when I watched that movie for the first time, I just said to myself, "This is Universal," as in not like the Universal, like Comcast, that whole brand. I mean, no matter where you are in the world, because they're big blue yolks. Like it's not like saying, okay, you know, these characters look a certain way, so that I can't relate to them. Like, you know, and they don't exist. They're big blue yolks. Whereas in Star Wars land, they've always had like human-looking things. So
yes,
Avatar is just big blue things that they can make anywhere and then stick. You know, like I think Avatar, the avatars themselves, if you stuck them into like Tokyo or Hong Kong or Shanghai, that like, and put the Chinese and Japanese dubbing over them, it wouldn't be strange because they're like big blue alien yolks, do you know?
Yeah.
Like who's to say what language they actually speak, like, you know? But James Cameron, yeah, he's a master of making a story that is huge and that the whole world wants to go see, as opposed to like, you know, little corners of the Western world loving Marvel, whatever. I suppose we'll get to the crux of the announcements, which was Walt Disney World. And the elephant in the room here is Epic Universe is like coming next year. It's kind of strange the talk about Epic Universe at the moment, because clearly, like from drone shots and stuff, it's a huge. They've built it pretty fast. I'm not saying they've done it quick, like they've cut corners, whatever, but they've thrown it up fast. They have amazing IP in it, and it's going to open next year. And then they're looking into like, you know, Bedford in England. So basically Universal is like all over Disney's back. So Disney had to put massive hype, maybe not shovels in the ground yet, but massive hype into Florida, because people need to know that they're taking this kind of threat seriously from Universal. We'll start off with the big thing, which everyone wants, and I think this should have went to Paris, but like, you know, money talks, which is Villains Land.
Agreed.
So like 40 degrees.
Should have gone to Paris.
Exactly. 40 degrees in July, August, humidity, blue skies, and you're going to have Villains Land melting away underneath. I mean, it looks incredible. It's only a concept, kind of watercolor painting, whatever. So we can see, what can we see? We can see a Maleficent dragon that they probably captured from Fantasmic. Then we can probably get a roller coaster. Like, they're talking about, like, just the chatter on Twitter and whatnot is that, like, they're talking about like small villains, like as in like Dr. Facilier going there, which is another thing that they're trying to come away from, like voodoo and religious stuff, but like can't keep up these days. But like, I think this land needs to have, like, Maleficent looks like she made this land. If you look at the artwork, whatever, like it looks like Maleficent just kind of said, you know, go for it and rise up, whatever. It looks incredible. I just think that, yeah, as you said, like Paris in the winter, which lasts pretty much from like November to like March, would have been incredible. Like dark skies and
rain.
Well, Paris is getting a third park in about 20 years, so you never know. We could do like a villains water park in Paris. That'd be incredible.
No water parks. No water parks in Paris. No.
We'll get back to that later.
No.
So Hollywood Studios in Walt Disney World is getting the Monsters Inc. land with the much kind of requested from the fans door coaster, which looks incredible. You're going to be free-legging, like your legs going to be dangling and whizzing past the doors. And there's an awful lot of love for Monsters Inc. that isn't really tapped in. I don't feel. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm like 6, 7 out of 10, but some people are 12 out of 10. That's great.
I'm a Monsters University person. I preferred it, but I've got to say I've been on the Monsters Inc. ride in California quite a few times, and I will say that the best bit of the ride and the bit that kind of gets everyone going, oh my god, is the bit where you go in the room with all the doors. So I can totally see why the Doors roller coaster is going to be really, really popular. Like, it's a really good idea. If there was ever going to be any part of Monsters Inc. to make into a roller coaster, that's it.
Yeah, and they got Billy Crystal out to kind of announce it. That was cool.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so like,
so here's,
I don't, never going to come to Paris. We'll just have to nip over to Florida in the next 50 years, maybe, please God. So
there was no time scale open for or like put forward for Monsters Inc. Was there? There was no indication as to when that would be started.
No, and it's going to be in
anything
in Hollywood Studios. So they can't do all this at the same time. Otherwise, like, all the parks are going to look like construction sites. I mean, we'll get back to this bit in about 2 minutes, but what they're going to do to Magic Kingdom. Anyway, in a few minutes. So new nighttime parade, Magic Kingdom, Disney Starlight. It's going to be like a mix between Sky Parade and not Sky Parade, Disney Electrical Main Street Parade, and it's going to be like the what they call the Blue Fairy is in charge of the night, whatever. But they have like lots of stuff that's makes sense to come alive at night. So they're going to have like Moana and Encanto, and from the art I've seen, like it looks great. Like, I'm all for nighttime parades, and in Florida you can do it because you can say, okay, for half the year it's going to be dry at night. So
yeah, nighttime parades are always a winner. I'm all about the nighttime parades, and I think people have been really pitching for a new parade in Florida because they've had Festival of Fantasy, the daytime one, for years and years. Like, it's almost, I think, at Stars on Parade level of
careful now,
like how long it's been there. So it's clearly very, very welcomed in Florida that they're getting something new.
Yeah,
and if it's good, maybe they could make it into a daytime version as well.
That is one of the things that, like, people, there's always, especially on Irish Facebook / Disney social media, which I know I'm kind of like the coordinator of the whole thing, but like, people are always bashing back and forth between Florida and Paris, and it's kind of like the one thing where I think Paris, people always come back from Florida and say that the entertainment is not up to scratch with Paris, like the kind of the shows and or parades just not up to scratch with Paris. So I mean, you can, every few months we always get like Bob Iger freezing or Josh D'Amaro freezing watching Stars on Parade, or like, splashes of colour, and they're like probably thinking, why can't we have this in Florida where we make all our money? So
I know,
could be cool. Yeah, I know. And then so they're getting go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think that they do have like good parades, like technology over in the States, because we saw Magic Happens in Disneyland, and it's relatively new. It was kind of like opened before COVID and then shut for a good long time, and then they brought it back, and it was really, really good. I think that there's the parade technology there, but when you watch that compared to Festival of Fantasy, it makes Festival of Fantasy look really, really tired. Yeah. And it's I would put the quality of Festival of Fantasy now, like float wise, up there with Stars on Parade, and like, how often Stars on Parade works, which is
Stars on Parade is like, Yeah, it's
being
it's in
dragged
trouble.
along rather than rolling along on its own.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I don't want to get another tangent, but like, there's more to come, apparently, from Disneyland Paris soon, which we don't know, but like, clearly, Stars on Parade is like begging to be replaced. And
Has
even if
to
they
be
said
one of
to
the
us,
big things.
yeah,
Has to be.
I don't think we can wait until 27. That's 3 years away.
No,
3 years of Stars on
Nemo
Parade.
is. We can't have Stone Nemo for another 3 years.
Nemo will be gone. Like, but
Nemo,
Another
Nemo
tangent.
can't close his eyes yet. Like he's
oh, stop.
those eyes are looking into the souls of every single person in that line. Like,
But we got back the flames this week, which is exciting.
woohoo!
Yeah. So Cars Land at Magic Kingdom. This is probably the most divisive of everything that's going on. What are you eating there now?
Oh, got Twix. Don't mind me.
God, Twix. Nighttime. Sorry, Cars Land at Magic Kingdom. So they're bringing in 2 attractions, and the big thing about this, which has completely overshadowed the kind of, oh, it's amazing we're getting cars in Florida, like proper big rides, is that they're going to destroy Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island. Like, they're not going to have, like, everyone who's been to Paris knows that Frontierland is all about the riverboat, and at least we have a proper island, but like,
Yep.
they're destroying it, and people are open arms over this in Florida, that they're just gonna completely basically fill the river and then build a Cars Land right there. And that's like, before you start talking about why the hell are you building Cars Land in Frontierland, like I said to you the other day, that like Big Thunder doesn't look completely out of place. If you were to put Big Thunder in the background of a Cars movie, you would never really know that it was just Big Thunder and not like something to do with Radiator Springs. But thematically, it's just completely out the window. Like, it's just, they're just saying that, okay, we have this IP, we need this in a park, and like, I suppose Magic Kingdom in Florida is gone. It's like, IP wise, it's like Tron. Hello, like, it's nothing to do with Magic Kingdom. Nothing to do with like
it's
1920s, 30s Marceline.
nuts to me that they're putting it in like Magic Kingdom rather than like Hollywood Studios, where the rest of the Pixar is.
Crazy. Like, and like, that was the whole point of Walt buying up half the state of Florida,
Pixar?
wasn't it?
Pixar.
Yeah.
Is Cars
Yeah,
Pixar?
yeah.
It is Pixar.
Of course.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it's just mad to me that they've put it in Magic Kingdom and not the park with all the Pixar. Like,
I know.
Cars
Almost
Land
as
is
bad
incredible.
as-
It's going to be great, but like, theming wise,
We thought we were bad getting our little not Coco. What's the movie that the fella looks like you? Or is there
Luca.
yeah, Luca.
Julia
got
from
Luca.
Julia from
Yeah,
Luca.
We got Luca in whatever Bellinotte, so like, we were like open arms over that, like, and sorry, they're just bulldozing like Frontierland for cars, kind of crazy. Well, moving on then to Animal Kingdom, the Tropical Americas kind of land that incorporates a new Indiana Jones ride, and what's looking like a beautiful like Encanto kind of casita, and they're gonna build out Colombian restaurant there and like totally dive into that. So that's cool, because like, I know Florida has a huge Hispanic population.
Yeah,
that makes a whole lot of sense. Zootopia Tree of Life, I was confused over this. Are they gonna like close down the Tree of Life in Animal Kingdom to like do something Zootopia to the Tree of Life? Because that's pretty much a work of art. I don't know if I read that wrong.
I'd be really upset if they did that. I think the Tree of Life's beautiful. Like,
Yeah,
the guy wouldn't
it's-
touch that. Like, it's stunning.
Let me just Google
Why would you
that
add
while we're
IP
on.
to that? Like,
No,
no,
like,
don't add IP to
It's
that.
beautiful, like it's a beautiful kind of amalgamation of loads of IP. Yeah,
Or like,
Disney
yeah,
World
that's what I mean.
Trivia-
Don't turn it in. Don't turn it into one
Sorry, I'm
big IP
just-
for Zootopia of all things.
I'm just on a website here called InsideTheMagic.net, and their front page is reading down the most significant renovations. Okay, need to get Tree of Life. I'm going to Control F on this because it's a long. I don't want to. Sorry, this is not professional. Like reading up. Yeah. So
doesn't need to be professional. It's not our park of
No.
knowledge.
He revealed.
you know.
So Josh D'Amaro revealed that the previously announced Utopia 3D movie Inside the Tree of Life would open in winter 2025. Disney also announced that the attraction's titled Zootopia Better Together. Walt Disney Imagineering first revealed plans to replace the current Tree of Life show. Oh, it's a show. Okay, sorry. Okay, calm down, everyone. Calm down. It's okay. The tree, the actual physical tree, is not going anywhere. That's okay. Do what you want with it. Show. That's grand.
Yeah.
One thing that was really low key in Florida that I really love the idea of is these Pirates and Spaceship Earth lounges, which I just thought of Captain Jack's in Paris, and how that's like not really top of the list for anyone's as like a restaurant that you would bring a lot of people to, because one, you can't see your food, and two, they don't have chicken nuggets. So
Yeah.
like a Pirates lounge in Paris, imagine that. Like, that'd be incredible. I love that.
Imagine sitting with your wee cocktail, watching the pirates' boats go around, like smelling the pirate water. Like, that is perfect.
Beautiful.
That's what they could be turning that into.
They could do a cocktail
sure.
that smells like the water. You're drinking the water. Maybe not.
Well,
Maybe not. Blue sky.
But think of all the like pirate themed cocktails you could do. Like, there's
unbelievable.
endless options that you could do with that. Like, and you could do mocktails too. Like, you can forever. So then, like, anybody can come in.
Do you know what? You could
part.
even
Like,
you could even open up Captain Jack's, like close the kitchen and just have snacks for like a month or two or whatever, and then just do cocktails and snacks for, I don't know, for a few nights of the week or something. Like, it wouldn't be. Here we go, Natasha. This is low cost.
Natasha.
Armchair Imagineering here going on.
Like, think of all the ice
spaceship
lollies from Ocean you could buy and sell them off for like 3 times
defrost
the
them.
price.
Yeah. That'd be funny. All right. I saw someone.
We know how to
recently
get those ears pricking up at DLP.
I just watch all the vlogs, and someone was having a Mickey Mouse ice pop from. I'm pretty sure they sell them in Ocean as well. And they were saying they looked at the back of it and it was like, oh, well, it's made in Italy. Like the one you opened the packet from, you know, the blue one. Well, it's made in Italy, so it's good. It's got to be good. This is great. It's made in Italy, but it was literally like, you know, something you'd buy maybe €4 for €5 in the supermarket. The Spaceship Earth stuff
But
looks
they've
incredible.
paid
Like,
for like €5 for it, I'm sure.
they have, yeah. Spaceship Earth, like, is kind of. I love the cantina in like Galaxy's Edge, and again, like, Paris has nothing like this, but we don't really have any real futuristic-y type things. Which I think, do you know at the back of Space Mountain where they're doing all this like paint work that they're not telling anyone about, but it's going on like 6 months. There's a lot of airspace, isn't there? There's a lot of space like in the air to do something. Like, imagine if you had a lounge, again, a cocktail lounge. There's a bit of a theme going on here with this podcast. We need drinks in Paris, like more drinks.
We need the Jules Verne lounge.
Imagine.
That's
Well,
what we
like
need.
I would say, like, put it out the back. So if they're gonna ever turn the back of Discovery Land into Star Wars Land, you could have a Star Wars themed bar looking at the back. So you have Buzz and Jules at the front, and then Star Wars at the back, with PhilharMagic in the middle of it.
Lovely and cohesive.
Yeah. Test Track is one of those rides that, like, I think I'd love, but it just seems to go off under people's radar because of, like, Tron is pretty close to it, I think.
What is Test Track? I'm going to Google that one. Hold on.
Yeah, Test Track is like a really fast Autopia. That's closed at the moment, but it's gonna be people go flying on that, like, they, as well as it's kind of similar to the Cars ride in Anaheim. You go flying.
It looks a bit like a mix between Autopia and the Cars ride in Anaheim's name has escaped me, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The absolute wonder ride. It's incredible. That does look like fun.
Yeah, I'd love it. I'd love it.
I would go on that.
I would happily sacrifice our little carbon dioxide infested Autopia in Paris for something new.
Yeah.
Every time I get off that, like, my daughter loves that, and every time I get off, I'm just like nauseous from the fumes. It's gas.
Oh, don't go on the Disneyland one then. They use petrol still, and it smells
do they?
horrendous. Oh, it's the smell, and oh no.
Did I not hear recently that one of those is getting done for electric cars? Is
I hope they do. It was still petrol when we were there last time, but I would be delighted
Disneyland's
to see them move to electric.
Disneyland's gas-powered Autopia's vehicles will be gone by. I'm going to play a video here. No. Anyway, in a few years, yeah, they're replacing that in Disneyland first. And that brings the end of Walt Disney World, which like is a mixed bag. I think a lot of people they didn't release the concept art for the Cars Land until the Monday, which was very sneaky, because then in the panels on Sunday after the Saturday night, Josh didn't have to answer any questions about what the hell you doing to Tom Sawyer Island and all that. So
yep.
But then I saw that great account on X called Imagination.
They send
Benji,
me to the
that
moon
fella.
every single day.
Yeah,
so funny.
He put up a thing
So
saying,
funny.
can we get the boat from the Liberty Bell, isn't it? There's one in Florida. Can we get that boat, please, over to Paris? Just basically anything you're going to destroy for the sake of IP. If you're not going to do anything to Disneyland Park in Paris, just send all the kind of ghosts of parks past to Paris and have that as kind of like a museum.
We'll take your props.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happens in Paris anyway. Because you have, what do they have? Just famously, they have the stuff that's in front of World of Disney. The Mickey and Minnie. I'm pretty sure that came from Asia. You have the Peter and Wendy on top of the blue hat in studios. That was, I think, from Asia as well.
That's from MGM, I think that came from, which was like old Hollywood Studios. I'm nearly sure.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Or something.
I think I'm mixing up with do you know Wally and Eve down towards they're from Japan, I think, aren't they? Basically, if you're throwing it out, send it our way, please. We'll take it. Merci.
Yeah, we'll take your scraps.
Yeah, happily. Speaking of scraps, so we're moving on to Disneyland Paris, and
what a segue!
love it.
Speaking of the scraps.
Speaking of the scraps, no, it was very much. How am I going to describe this now? It was a roller coaster ride, the Disneyland Paris announcements. So we started off with Josh saying it is time, and then we all got leaked that the Lion King land was coming, but I think it looks amazing. And then they released this 3D model that had different color grass and had a shape of a land already put in there. So I don't know who they were tricking, but it certainly wasn't going to be Star Wars land, much to most people's dismay, who hadn't kind of kept abreast of the situation in the last 3 years in Paris. But I'm enthused. I think Lion King Land only works in Paris, really, geographically, with the kind of makeup of the population and stuff like that we have in Europe and things like we're closest to Africa, so it kind of does work a little bit there. And people were wondering, how are you going to have this plume ride? So we're getting basically Splash Mountain again, but it looks like we're getting a huge much more indoorness to the ride because of the cold during this. The show building is huge for this ride, and you're just going to have a little splash and then a big splash at the end, and then you get off.
It's giving. I don't know if you've seen Jurassic World in Universal in California. It looks a bit like that in terms of that entire kind of flume is indoor, apart from one small bit. Yeah, which is definitely it would be closed half the year if they didn't. You couldn't have a water ride operating in those.
Yeah.
It would
actually freeze over in December and January, particularly January. Yeah. If Plaza Gardens fountain can freeze, then
for it to be the only ride in the land as well, if they were having to close that for a couple of months out of the year, what's the point? It just wouldn't be financially sensible.
Yeah. I what are they going to do with Hakuna Matata restaurant? When is that because clearly all the food from there has to be sold over there in why isn't that called Pride Land? Why why is it called Lion King Land? Why is it not called the
The
Pride?
Pride
Land?
Lands would be
Yeah.
class.
And you can have a huge
Like-
Pride party in June in the Lion
Yeah.
King Land. That'd be that'd
Yeah.
be incredible.
The Pride Lands.
Um,
Woo!
Yeah, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Oh my
here we
god,
go.
we just pitched
Natasha,
the most perfect
sorted.
idea. Natasha, get Natasha on the line immediately. Have your people call my people.
They're gonna have a little Rafiki's tree there as well. So that looks cool.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna have an awful lot of. I just hope they need to plow like character interactions into all these new lands they're building. It's the one thing.
Yeah.
Like the people make the parks. The cast members make the parks. It's so like we said this. We had a podcast during the strikes, about a year ago in Paris, and like I think from reading the Forbes stuff recently that they got good deals in Paris. So hopefully they feel more respected and that feeds back into everything that happens in Paris, like from the people who are in custodial to like all the way up to like performers and stuff like that. Like if everyone's just happier, it'll be a better place to visit. And you can see when the life gets sucked out of Avengers Campus in Paris, it's like ghost town. When they pull
rubbish.
the characters and the interactions and the shows that are seemingly random. So like imagine what they could do in the Lion King Land with like little live bands. And like I'm not big up on African culture, I'll just hold my hand up completely, but I can imagine culturally appropriate stuff happening in the Lion King Land that would respect African culture and would totally like kind of like Animal Kingdom, where you have like lads on bongos and stuff coming down the street and they'd be incredible.
Do you remember
Just don't do it cheaply.
the Lion King and Jungle Book Festival
Incredible,
they did years
yeah.
ago before COVID? They did so much good Lion
We're on
King
our
stuff
way.
Yeah, they did so much good. They had like a show with where was it? It was somewhere in Adventureland. I remember watching it. It was Timon, and he had a bunch of dancers and drummers with him, and he was teaching people a dance and stuff. Like if you could bring that kind of energy and that kind of vibe, and again like having the characters really really involved would be brilliant. And like you could have a show like that, like, and this is me just going off on one now, but you could have a show like that and then at the end have a meet and greet, like have the character out for a little bit, have Timon, have Rafiki or whoever out for a bit to take pictures with people. Like that would be so immersive and so fun. It would just there's so much you could do with it. I love the theme. I love the regatta.
And then we kind of had to put a kibosh on our chats, our DMs during the week there, because I was saying what's going on with like the Lion King Rhythm in the Pride Lands in Frontierland. Like how are they not going to have that transported to the Lion King Land? It just makes no sense. Like, but like in fairness, it's not a huge deal for me. Like I'm not going to like poo poo everything in this announcement, but like like there's a lot of Lion King stuff in Frontierland and to an extent Adventureland in Disneyland Park, and then you're going to have Disney Adventure World with the Lion King. So Lion King in Adventureland and Lion King in Adventure World. Yeah, I get confused with names.
I was like the plot of land that they have to build the Pride Lands, as we're calling it now.
Go for it.
Like build us a theatre, build the theatre, move it over and put something else in Frontierland Theatre. Like imagine going to watch the Lion King, that amazing performance in that like themed land, like the immersiveness. It'd just be like chef kiss. If they could pull it off, it would be really 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 well done. And
imagine the gift shop,
and
like you come out of the ride or the show, or you come from a meet and greet and you want to be covered in Simba and anything. Like you could they could do like a magic shot with Pride Rock, like something like that.
I have so much stuff already.
Grab a baby, hold it up.
I have so much stuff that I've already bought in DLP, because I've bought specifically because I walked out of the show in Frontierland and I needed it. Like, I have a Simba, I have a Spirit jersey, I have a Lion King mug. The Lion King sells itself. Like, they could make a fortune on merch.
I've gone to see the Lion King show in Paris every time I've been there in the last like 5 visits. And, like, I've seen it loads, but it's just like you never get bored of it. Like,
No.
even if you see it once a month, like, you never get bored of it. It's just fantastic. And kind of jumping around the different angles to see, sit up beside where Scar comes out, and we'll sit up beside where Timon and Pumbaa come out. But so this is going to be huge. The one thing I'm worried about this, though, I don't know. There's a lot of chat on X again about timing on this. So they're going to start construction in 2025. Now, I know the heavy construction for World of Frozen and whatnot has to finish by May 25, I think. Like, all the cement trucks and have to go. So it's just front stuff, and then training and theming happens in late 25. But how are you gonna? And we should probably just go through the rest of the announcements. So, like, so World of Frozen 2026 was a letdown pretty much for everybody who wasn't an insider on this, because it's just a long time away. It could be 30 months away. Like, it could be 24 months away. It could be Q1 2026, January, February, March. Like, we don't know. We just don't know. And it's dicey because like, the hotels go on sale, I think, in about 3 weeks for January, February, March 2026. So, I mean, that's possibly when World of Frozen will open. If they can open the Disneyland Hotel in January, they can open World of Frozen in January, and it would make sense because it's kind of cold.
Yeah.
So who knows? You would think that a lot of people were thinking summer up to November 25, because November being like the Frozen anniversary every year. So for them to get extra time, you'd have to think it's going to be early 26. I don't know. Which leads back then into timing for the Lion King land. So if you're just building one, it's a big ride. But if you're just building one ride and one land, like a few shops and maybe a few food locations, I don't know, on the left of Adventure Bay, is that going to be ready at the same time as World of Frozen? Is that why they pushed back World of Frozen? That seems a stretch.
I think so.
To me.
I thought it seems too close.
It's
for
very,
a whole land that they've only just announced. Like, it's too close.
It is. And then, like, the third announcement was the Adventure Bay nighttime show, which is going to be incredible. Like, you have the guys who do the shows in Paris, who do the castle shows in Paris, now coming over to work on the lake show, and that is going to blow. Like, you just think of, like, whenever the drone guys in Paris are, like, threatened by another location, they come out and they blow them away. Like, when we first saw Sky Parade with the pyro drones, it was kind of like, what? And then I was kind of surprised that they said water drones in this, and, like, gave everyone kind of a heads up that they were going to do water drones in 2026. So now the rest of the world's going to be like, how do we get water drones? Make water drones. Quick, make water drones. But how are you going to do thousands of people around the bay, World of Frozen looking like a diamond on the other side of the lake, and then diggers and cement trucks on the left-hand side of the lake while this show is going on? Like, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging.
The show is just going to have to be so incredible and so amazing that you can't take your eyes off what's going on in front of you. Like, they're going to have to really, like, I don't know.
It will be
something like I hope it's like a mix of, like, World of Color, the original, and Electrical Sky Parade would be, like, perfect.
And it's going to have amazing. Like, all we saw was Moana and the manta ray, and like, you can just, your head can just go wild with the possibilities when you add in water spray effects and stuff like that. Like, you can have, Paris hasn't had water spray effects since they got rid of the castle sprays, do you know? And they can pretty much project movies onto the sprays. So like, yeah, one part of my head wants to know all this stuff, and the other half of my head wants to be surprised when it does come out and when we get the hype and everything. I just can't wait. Like these guys are pros, and they're completely top of their games. We're in good hands, folks, with this nighttime show.
Watch World of Colour on YouTube and then think it's going to be better than that.
Is that the one at Epcot or Anaheim?
Anaheim in DCA.
What
there's
was the
World
one,
of Colour and there's World of Colour 1. And I think the World of Colour 1 was the one for the 100th anniversary, and I didn't think it was as good. I think the original one is, like, it's stunning. It's like you were saying, like projections on water. And then there was fireworks and all sorts of carry on. But Epcot had a good one recently as well.
It did. I think the current one is called Epcot Forever. Or that's the last one. They also had the incredibly confusing Illuminations.
Yeah.
Or Harmonious. Harmonious was the one that is the one.
Yeah.
Like Florida content creators and fans of Florida are constantly giving out about their nighttime shows. Like, fair play to them getting back happily ever after. But I think when there was a lot of controversy over the Epcot show as well. So they're just never happy. Never happy.
No.
Wait till your ma says you don't know what it's like. That's what I think of when I think of Florida. Florida giving out when like we haven't gotten a new like ride in a new building, let's say, since Disneyland Park has opened. I don't count Buzz as a new ride because they shoehorned it into the Visionarium.
I saw on X somebody had written after the parks panel something like, "Oh my God, they finally remembered that Florida exists," and I was like, "Oh no,
come on,
someone's put 20p in me now." I'm gonna have to say something like,
"Jar, she'd be dancing for days."
I was like, I actually can't listen to that.
They got 7 new attractions announced, and that's not
multiple lands.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like sit down. Like even the fact that they got Tron and Cosmic Rewind, and like that's all recent. Like,
and they've got their new like obviously we had it first, but like Ratatouille opened quite recently there too. Like it's not like they're short of new rides opening.
Yeah, and they own half the state, so I don't know what's the problem with shoehorning stuff into the stuff doesn't belong there. Anyway. One thing that was a huge surprise, and I think that wasn't flagged. Well, we kind of saw leaks of it. I hate those leaks accounts. But we're getting a new show at the castle in Paris, January 25. I assume it'll launch either the day after Christmas ends or a week after Christmas ends. Give Illuminations one more week. But yeah, no, it looks beautiful. They've finally brought in like laser projections on the main street, which really brings people away from the castle. Like I never thought of it before really, but it means that you don't have to be up close to the castle to get projections, like the windows opening, closing, and then the characters in the windows and stuff. Proper job.
And you don't need to put your children on your shoulders.
No, like children don't belong on shoulders at all. That's not just because I have a bad back and I wouldn't put mine on my shoulders, but like the shows in Paris particularly, like pull up a stool, folks. Pull up a stool. The shows in Paris are 10 minutes for a Sky Parade and 15 minutes for Illuminations. If you can't put your child just on your hip so that their head is the same as your head, go to the gym or something. like, and that's a big asterisk beside anyone with mobility issues that can't lift their child up or whatever. Like, probably getting the pass for that to go into the priority area. So this business of on top of the shoulders, like particularly like I'm not one for being PC here. Like, big strong dads who are already 6'5", and then they put their 4 foot tall kid on top, and suddenly you have a 10-foot monster in front of you. Like, this hasn't happened to me much, because when I stand far back from shows, I generally leave a 20-foot gap in front of me. I stand really far back. And when I'm up front, I'm up front, but yeah, this shoulders business has to stop. just
But
lack of respect.
hopefully that will stop it if they're projecting what they're projecting on the castle onto the main street shops. There's absolutely no excuse for you to put your child on your shoulders if they're going to be able to see. Like, and that's like a really common complaint that I see like on Instagram and on Facebook and all as well, about people's like views having been, people's like saying their fireworks experience was ruined because they had an obstructed view because people kept putting their wings on their shoulders. So I'm just like, the projections hopefully should help.
Yeah, I think they're going to be like complimentary to the castle show, as in like, I don't think you're going to see the exact same show on the main street buildings, but it's kind of like they did this awful, I say awful, no disrespect to the cast members who created this, but it felt a bit low par. Do you know the Tinkerbell and Periwinkle kind of show that they had over Christmas, or like early this year in Paris? It was awful. It was like Tinkerbell and Periwinkle were just shouting at each other, and they didn't appear anywhere on the buildings, and they didn't meet in the park. So I don't know who decided this was a good idea, but yeah, it's gonna be better than that, I think. And like from the concept art that we saw, looks incredible. There's gonna be all new IP in the nighttime fireworks show. We've seen a few little glimpses like illegally, and we've also seen a few spoil. What's the word I'm looking for? Just teasers, like officially also. So I'm just hoping that this is the problem with the hotel. You see, you can't do practice runs. You can't design castle shows when you have people paying €10,000 a night, looking at the castle all night with their 4K iPhones, that they're gonna like record stuff that's happening overnight. So if anyone's listening from accounts out there, just please don't make it widely known what the guys are practicing during the night, because during COVID and during the Disneyland Hotel refurbishing, they could practice magic during the night, and then when it arrived, it was amazing. But if we get it spoiled for us, it's not fun for anybody. It gets you a few more clicks, gets a few more impressions.
Like for once,
whatever.
I'm like, please gatekeep everything you know.
Yeah, it's happening a good bit now.
Don't tell us. Let it be
Nobody
a
wants
surprise.
to see. Nobody wants to see too far behind the curtain on these things, because the magic is, it's kind of like pixie dust moments. You can't ask for pixie dust moments; they just happen. And this is the best thing about Disney parks, when things just happen in front of you. Not when you said, "Oh, do you know what? I'm going to queue 4 hours for this certain character." And that's amazing. It's when you stumble upon something, or you, like a parade comes along and you have the best time, or like a character walks past you and says, "Oh, I want to go for a walk." Like that. That's the magic, not the 3 a.m. blurry cam, ruining people's works of art. So
it's
rant
like
over.
If you're gonna film it, like, do the just respect other fans and respect the creators of the shows, and don't post it. Like, just don't post it online.
Yeah, or like, if you're a part of the Disney community, have like, a Discord, which all the kids are into these days, that is about spoilers. And then like we won't stumble upon it then on X, or we won't stumble upon it then on Facebook even. Like, algorithms are mad for the clicks. So if you post it to one of these, like TikTok or whatever, which just wants you to click on stuff, everyone's going to see it. You're going to ruin it for everyone. So just wished. And then a slight footnote to the whole presentation was the Asian parks. In Shanghai, they're getting a Cosmic Rewind kind of vibey Spider-Man ride.
Give me it.
And then in Hong Kong also, more Spider-Man. Asians are just mad into Spider-Man. They're getting this Doc Ock themed, well, Doc Ock is definitely in it, Doc Ock Spider-Man drop kind of ride, which, do they have a Tower of Terror in Hong Kong? I was confused.
They do, but it's quite like different. It's not like,
there's one of them that's Magic Manor or something, or Mystery Manor or something.
That's Haunted. That's Phantom Manor.
Yes. Oh yeah. I mixed up everything. This is what happens.
But Oh, it is Mystic Manor. You're right. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Mystic Manor is Hong Kong.
That's completely like new IP or whatever.
Totally not like the Tower of Terror.
No, because it's something to do with that locality's culture not believing in like the supernatural and stuff like that. So they had to change it up a bit. But they believe in Spider-Man, and they're getting.
I'm looking now. It's a haunted mansion, but with a backstory connected to the Tower of Terror. That's bonkers.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, they're mad for it. So it's going to be a drop ride. It's not going to be a Tower of Terror. Yeah, they're not like retheming here, but they're going to do something that includes a drop. And then they released this entirely world, like, which basically looked like world domination, threatening picture of 4 new cruise ships. Did you see the picture they announced for the cruise? Like, they had eight ships and then 4 more. So it looked like Disney cruise ships were taking over the world. And in my mind, this is their way of bringing the parks to countries and locations that are not going to get a park, basically. Maybe for geopolitical reasons and whatnot. You know, you can kind of park up there in the Gulf, and you're not going to build Disneyland in Dubai. So, who knows? There's talk of like a dedicated Marvel ship, a dedicated Pixar ship. They might put that Star Cruiser hotel on the seas as well. Who knows? It was a bit of a footnote, but like a lot of people love the Disney cruises, and I think I might be one of them when I ever do go on a Disney cruise. Like, I think they'd be mad. You'd love them, I think, because you're all about the characters.
Yeah, definitely. It would be like meet and greet heaven.
I think they are just characters plus shows plus food. A lot of food.
Yep.
So yeah, that concludes kind of the parks panel for D23. Like, overall, I think the hype on the night, like, as well as that, I don't know if you watched like full vlogs of the whole show, but they really went hard on like entertaining throughout the announcements. Like, it wasn't just boom boom boom, here's all the announcements. It was like, you know, shows, and they had music, and it was like just really cool linkages with musicians and all in between the announcements. So it wasn't just like, here's a press release. It was a proper big show for the whole night.
Love that for them.
But that also concludes what I'm going to call part 1 of this 2-part podcast. This has been episode 12.1 of Irish Ears, a Disney Fancast. We've been talking through the parks announcements, and on the next episode, which we're going to record right now, but you're not going to hear for maybe a few days after this one goes out, we're going to talk about all the movie announcements and the streaming announcements, and we might even get the shows in there as well, Broadway shows and things. So thank you for your time. Megan, do you want to lead us out there?
I certainly will. That's a wrap on episode 12.1 of Irish Ears, a Disney Fancast. You can keep up to speed with us both, Stuart on DLP Tips for Irish and myself on Megan Loves Magic socials. Like we always say, we'll try and do the podcast more often, but for now we'll say a bientôt. See you soon.
A bientôt. See you soon.